Hey everyone, so glad you're here. Let's jump right into today's explainer, because we are looking at something truly special. We're taking a fascinating piece of source material, a single, concentrated creative blueprint, and breaking down exactly how it constructs a rich, cinematic narrative from the ground up. And the core focus? It's all about a friendly stray dog helping lonely and sad humans in their everyday lives, featuring incredibly detailed human expressions and a genuinely heartwarming ending. Imagine a world where the gray, isolating feeling of a rainy city is suddenly pierced by a moment of unexpected, pure empathy. We're going to look at exactly how aesthetic choices, character dynamics, and visual constraints all work together to literally force us to feel a profound sense of connection. So let's get into it. Okay, let's dive into this foundational quote. This is the exact prompt, the absolute core of the source material we're exploring today. Quote, "Create a cinematic, emotional short film about a friendly stray dog helping lonely and sad humans in everyday life." End quote. I mean, just think about how much narrative heavy lifting is happening in that one single sentence. We've got our medium, a cinematic short film. We've got the emotional tone. We have our unlikely hero, this friendly stray dog. And of course, the central conflict, lonely humans going about their everyday lives. It's incredibly direct, right? But it immediately sets the expectation that we aren't just looking at a story about a dog. We're looking at the human condition, all observed and altered by this innocent four-legged friend.
So, looking at how this text sets the emotional stage, it instantly dictates a very specific sensory mood right from the opening words. The text specifically calls out rainy streets and emotional lighting. And you know, these aren't just throwaway background details. They are active participants in the storytelling. Think about it. What happens when it rains? It naturally forces us inward. We huddle under umbrellas, we rush past each other, we physically isolate ourselves. It is a brilliant tactile way to take that internal feeling of loneliness and just project it onto the physical environment. Add in that emotional lighting, maybe some dim, melancholic blues and grays, and well, before a character even sighs or speaks, the world itself is already telling us how isolated they feel.
Now check out this deliberate juxtaposition built into the source material. On one hand, you have this cold environment, right? The rainy streets, the overarching sadness. But contrasting that, the text explicitly calls for warm colors to be associated with our friendly stray dog. This is visual storytelling at its absolute finest. The creator is using color theory to build narrative tension. The dog isn't just a character, visually it's a literal source of warmth in a freezing gray world. As this little guy trots through those rainy streets, the warm colors follow him. It's a huge signal to the audience that, hey, hope and comfort are cutting through the gloom. It's that stark contrast that's going to make the eventual emotional payoff hit so much harder.
And this aesthetic tension, it's baked directly into how we actually view the film. The source material doesn't just tell us what to look at, it dictates exactly how we see it, explicitly calling for a vertical 9:16 format. Now, we're usually used to those wide, sweeping horizontal landscapes in traditional cinema. But this constraint forces a completely unique, very modern relationship between us and the subject. By going vertical, the creator inherently chops off the periphery. We aren't getting the big city skyline. We're forced to look at these tall, narrow, highly focused slices of life.
To really grasp why this matters, think about that 9:16 format for a second. It's a portrait aspect ratio, the exact same dimensions as the smartphone you probably hold in your hand for hours every single day. We've literally trained our brains to associate this specific frame with personal connection. This is absolutely crucial. It creates a highly intimate face-to-face viewing experience. When a character's face fills a vertical screen, they are looking right at you. You're practically inside their personal bubble. The source material demands this intimacy. By restricting that horizontal space, the characters are trapped in their loneliness, and you, the viewer, are pulled right into arm's reach. It's such a clever technical choice to crank up the emotional stakes.
And this perfectly illustrates how those technical boundaries are supported by specific aesthetic and auditory choices. The text gives us this exact checklist: realistic style and animation, emotional lighting, soft cinematic camera movement, and emotional piano music. These aren't just random picks. The realistic style means we recognize our own world here. These aren't exaggerated cartoons, they're people just like us. That soft camera movement, it feels like a gentle, non-intrusive observation, almost matching the vibe of the stray dog itself. And the emotional piano music? Actually, research shows piano melodies are incredibly effective at triggering empathetic responses in our brains. It provides the heartbeat. Put it all together and it constructs this deeply immersive feel that softens the harsh city and preps us for a really moving experience.
Beneath all the formatting and aesthetics, we have to look closely at the core narrative problem here.
The text asks us to confront everyday human sadness. We're not talking about grand, catastrophic tragedies, but those quiet, isolating moments. You know, that feeling of being completely alone, even on a busy, rainy street. It's a very specific type of vulnerability. The explainer really requires us to sit with that discomfort, to recognize the invisible weight people carry around while just trying to get through their daily routines.
The text locks in this connection by explicitly demanding, quote, detailed human expressions. Think about how powerful that instruction is. The audience needs to deeply feel the isolation before the dog even shows up. If the faces were vague or stylized, we just wouldn't connect. But by requiring nuanced details, the slight downturn of a mouth, tired eyes, a tense jaw, the story demands our empathy right out of the gate. It ensures the pain feels authentic, and honestly, science backs this up. Dogs actually have specialized brain regions dedicated to interpreting our human expressions. They literally read our faces. So those detailed expressions make the dog's eventual comfort that much more believable and significant.
But hey, the story doesn't just leave us standing in the rain. Let's brighten things up and talk about the beautiful solution here, the guardian dog. The source text highlights a realistic dog animation of a friendly stray dog. This little guy is our emotional anchor. And it's actually kind of profound that our hero is a stray. By definition, a stray is homeless and wandering. Yet here, it's the one providing comfort to humans who have homes and lives but still feel totally lost themselves. The dog doesn't judge, it doesn't give you cliché advice, it just offers pure presence. In this cold, vertical, realistic world we just explored, the stray becomes an active agent of warmth and connection.
Let's walk through how this actually plays out step by step. Step 1. We start with humans experiencing that quiet, everyday sadness, captured in those detailed expressions and framed by the rainy streets. Step 2. The soft approach of the stray dog. Remember that soft cinematic camera movement we talked about earlier? It perfectly mirrors this gentle approach. And then step 3. We get an emotional shift in connection. The dog acts as a pure catalyst here. By just existing and offering unprompted friendship, the dog completely breaks the spell of isolation. It's living proof that connection can show up in the most unexpected places.
As we move toward the resolution of this explainer, we see that all this careful setup has a very specific, mandated destination. The source material doesn't leave room for ambiguity at all. It flat out demands a shift from that melancholic opening to an inspirational, uplifting mood. The tension between the rainy sadness and the warm dog is finally resolved. A connection is made. That heavy isolation is momentarily shattered, and as viewers, we are meant to feel this genuine wash-over-you sense of relief and joy for these everyday people.
So the crucial point culminates in these final requirements, a heartwarming ending and an inspirational mood. Everything we've unpacked today, the intimacy of the vertical smartphone format, the stark contrast of warm colors against the rain, the realistic animation, the delicate piano music, and those incredibly detailed expressions of loneliness. Literally every single choice is engineered for this specific emotional payoff. The structure of the prompt itself is a complete journey from isolation to empathy. It is absolutely a masterclass in how setting tight, specific constraints guarantees a deeply moving result.
Which brings us to our final thought. The real beauty of this source material isn't just how it builds a cinematic film, but how closely it actually mirrors our own reality. Look, we all have our own rainy streets. We all have those moments of quiet sadness. So I want to leave you with this question to ponder. Who plays the role of the unexpected guardian offering you warmth in your everyday life? And, maybe even more importantly, whose guardian could you be today? Thank you so much for exploring this fascinating concept with me, and I hope you carry a little bit of that warmth with you as you go.